It probably within the first 3 years we hit 1 million. We started at about 800,
Oh, wow.
and that was pretty good, but it wasn't sufficient for an operation like this. I'm not successful yet. People tell me I'm successful. That's what people tell me.
Yeah.
And in some ways, I am successful, but you're always working on success.
Yeah.
And hey, Vincent, don't worry about having some kind of conveyor belt. You don't need all that. You just need a slide, a gravity slide. But what I learned, you know, is that the USDA allows you to consider a chicken fresh for 20 days after the kill date. Then you have to freeze it.
Mm.
So you can only imagine if they're buying the chicken on the 19th day, they're buying it off a spot market a lot cheaper.
Mm.
I probably know more about the chicken business than any man.
Mm.
I know a whole lot of stuff. Compound what my boss knew with the knowledge that I've gained. It's like 100 years of knowledge.
Yeah.
And so can they produce over and over again a superior product? It's hard. I'm telling you, it's not the easiest thing. I mean, you can do it one day, you can do it 2 days, you can do it 10 years.
Yeah.
But if you don't get those people in there with love and passion for what they do, they'll ruin your product, and it
100%.
is they'll mess it up.
Now, you saw that you've been getting your chicken from the same place for 30
Yeah.
years per
Mhm.
se. And
Mhm.
now, how did you find this? Was this the same place that used Golden Bird?
No.
Oh,
What happened was I used to follow Golden Bird on everything. They had the lead. So
yeah.
there was a company in LA, and I don't want to name names,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
there was a company in LA that sold the Golden Bird that they had a superior product.
Okay.
So I had my location in Compton, and I was, boots on the ground. So I'm watching how this chicken is cooking. I'm watching how it's coming in. And one day I noticed this pattern of every Sunday, there was like this foul odor in the walk-in. And I even called the Golden Bird and said, this company is doing something different. But what I learned, you know, is that the USDA allows you to consider a chicken fresh for 20 days after the kill date. Then you have to freeze it.
Mm.
So you can only imagine if they're buying the chicken on the 19th day, they're buying it off a spot market a lot cheaper.
Mm.
So maybe they sold you at one time, it was totally great.
Mm.
But by the time you've been doing business with them for 7 years, now they have switched up on you and they're buying the cheapest possible chicken they can get. And that explained why by Sunday I'm wondering, why is the refrigerator smelling like this? So I started doing more research, and then I found this other company, and I tried them. And the first case they gave me was fantastic. It was like, oh, I'm changing. I told the Golden Bird, I'm changing. That company is no good.
Mm.
And then I changed to the new company, but they hadn't been in business very long. So they hadn't learned the tricks to the trade.
Mm.
They sold me on a perfect case of chicken. But by 6 months later, why, when I eat this chicken, I feel like I'm smelling a farm. It's like this chicken is not right. And then I discovered what it was that they're going around buying chicken from these processors that
Yeah.
got dirty farms and dirty stalls and dirty
Mm.
cutting rooms, and that that odor was infused in the chicken. Hey, this isn't gonna work. And then I found the company I'm with now. Their business is built on the integrity of being, if you tried the rest, come to the best.
Oh, wow.
And man, and then this relationship has developed over 30 years. So we've had our kind of clashes from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
There's been times when I have to remind them that, don't start slacking on me. Tell your people,
Mm-hmm.
honey's kettles, chef requires that these specs. And so we stay on top of that. And that's why people talk about how fantastic it is, because we get it as fresh as you can get it.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
What was the first system you built that allowed the business to grow without you being there every day?
Uh, I would say it's the production of it, like in Culver City.
Mm-hmm.
So I had learned all the stuff about the layout from Compton of a Golden Bird because it was a store that was already open. So I had what I had to work with. So in getting Culver City, I wanted to design it to make it as efficient as possible, meaning that in Compton, we were too many steps to go get the chicken, too many steps to go to the supply room. That's
Mm.
all a waste of time.
Mm.
So I wanted to design it so it would be a production system that can produce in case of 1,000 people show up. Could we get 1,000 people out the door? So that was kind of a benchmark. So it needed to be very efficient, meaning that the cook needed to go from the refrigerator door, turn around 36 inches away, and he's loading up with chicken. Then I needed a way to get that chicken to the production line. And so the way I did that was I worked with a fabricator who said, "Hey, Vincent, don't worry about having some kind of conveyor belt. You don't need all that. You just need a slide, a gravity slide."
Wow.
I was like, "You mean that's as simple idea as you can come up with?" So in other words, the cooks are on the line. They can produce the chicken hundreds of pieces at a time, drop it on a slide, and then it goes into the production line. That
Wow.
system became so valuable because now the producer, the people who are actually packing the order, can put it down the line and hit the counter.
Oh,
And so it became sort of a U-shaped operation.
yeah.
People come in one door to the register, move to the side, ticket goes to the production line puts it down the line, sends it to the front counter, and you're out the door. So that system became like, I mean, it took a lot of work to get to that system,
Mm.
but through trial and error, we eventually got that system. And the important part is the connection between the cook and the production line. It's like doing an assembly line in a car company. If the guy who puts the doors on isn't ready for the door, the whole thing backs up. So the cook has to produce the product in the volumes that are needed so that the system never shuts down and we could move people out the door just like that. And
So,
that was the most important. And I got to say another thing, Kenta, about this part. The fire, you know how they say fire can knock you down, but it doesn't have to knock you completely out.
mm,
It knocked us down, but by the time we rebuilt it, we had a better system. We had a new computer system. We figured out more how to make it more efficient, the way to operate it. And then the pandemic finished it off. If you flat-footed as a boxer, you're going to get knocked out, right?
mm-hmm.
So our system was one way, and then the pandemic shaped it another way because we had to become all takeout. And so we started having it's like if you resist that change, you'll still be flat footed.
Yeah,
But we went with the change and
exactly.
it forced even a better operation to move not just the people who come in the door, but the people who are coming constantly for those platform orders.
Is your takeout business more than your walk in and sit
They're
down?
almost half and half.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because the pandemic, remember, knocked everything out. You couldn't
Yeah.
go social distancing. So then what happened was the online part, which we were the early ones on that before DoorDash. DoorDash was about 10, maybe 15 years old. We got on it right away. And boy, that was a saving grace because when people couldn't come in the door, they just went to.
Yeah, yeah.
Next thing I know, I had tickets coming out of the system so fast. In 10 minutes, it'd be inch thick of tickets, and we
Wow.
couldn't keep up with it. So
Wow.
we'd have to turn it off. No businessman ever want to turn off
Yeah.
the system, but we would have to turn it off because we couldn't keep up. And so
Wow.
that caused us to make more adjustments to the
Wow.
operation that now we're ready, let's say, for, come one, come all. Now we can handle it.
Do you remember um, the first time you had your first $1 million year?
Yeah, it probably within the first 3 years we hit a million. We started at about 800,
Oh, wow.
and that was pretty good, but it wasn't sufficient for an operation like this. Maybe about the third year, it started to hit at a million.
Mm.
You get to this baseline amount of people that you can kind of count on,
Mm-hmm.
and then that kind of grows, incrementally, 5, 10% maybe. And so it starts to grow, but then here comes the platforms with DoorDash
Mm.
and Uber Eats. And now you're getting more customers from farther distances that can get the food as well. So then you start to grow your base, but you always seem like you're always at a ceiling.
Yeah.
The base is at, I mean, this is not going to be, they say there's a certain ratio of based on your square footage, how much your kitchen can produce.
Uh-huh.
We're probably at a record in terms of that. But could we do $10 million? I would
Well,
love it if we could. Could the building handle 10 million? Would
yeah.
the fire department allow us to do? What regulator is going to come and say
Yeah.
this place is flooded with just too many people? You
Yeah.
got to have to, close the doors and let only so many in at a time. But we're a one come, one all, come one, come all operation.
So you almost got to turn down money. You you're almost at a point of outgrowing your spot. You're basically
We're a
saying.
long ways from that because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, um, Thursday is the slower days. We
Okay.
could stand to be like we are on the weekend every day of the week. Easily, we can do that.
Okay.
I mean, we can go maybe even 30% higher without any cracks in the operation.
Is there anything in your system now that you're really trying to work on, that you're trying to clean up or tighten?
Yes. Boy, you really ask good questions. As I said to you, that from A to Z, I have to cover all the way through Z.
Yeah.
The last frontier of making this business work right is, believe it or not, the cash flow.
Yeah.
Because cash flow is so hard to manage.
Mm.
Is you have these sudden swells of bills.
Hmm.
This comes due, equipment falls, this comes due. Everything all of a sudden hits at the same time. And you have a swell of, cash needs,
Mm.
in excess of how much you have to work with. So it creates these holes. And the ideal situation is you got so much capital already. These are the most successful businesses already have money. Like they say about, it takes money to make money.
Hmm.
If you already got money, it makes it easier because you can put a stack next to the business that is a capital that's not going to get penetrated very easily.
Hmm.
And then you have the ability to kind of manage it better, these highs and lows that happen throughout the month. If I master that part, then I'm ready for anything in terms of growth. And I will master it. I'm getting better at it all the time, but it's all trial and error. I'm a first
Yeah.
generation business owner. Nobody
Yeah.
nobody taught me exactly how to do all this. It
Yeah.
was learned through, tough luck and, you know.
When was the first time you felt like and confirmed that you can walk away and take a vacation and your operation is
Uh,
flowing?
that happened when I got a manager.
Okay.
Now I have a manager now.
Okay.
Someone comes from corporate America.
Okay. Beautiful.
And what I do with my people is I treat them so well.
Okay.
I give them praise all the time. They know I'll complain, but I praise them more than I complain.
Mhm.
And I have been preparing actually since my kids were, toddlers. for the second generation? How are we going to be around another 50 years, 100 years? How do you become a 100-year company? You can't expect the founder to be there.
Mm.
So with my kids, I'll always, taught them this one day will be your responsibility. So you need to know all that you know. But then when I got this manager, I was so fortunate because I had been telling her she was working another corporation and she was working us as her second job.
Okay.
I kept telling her I'm a jealous boss, I want you with me 100%.
Yeah.
I told her that about 2 or 3 years, and then one day they had treated her badly. Probably they, changed her hours, and all of a sudden she was working in a day shift, and they said, "You're gonna work the shift from 12 at night to 4 in the morning," or something ridiculous. But she came to me and said, "I can do full time now." And ever since then, I've been teaching her everything I know,
Wow.
because the business needs to be seamless. Am I there? Yes, I'm there in terms of the overall way it got set up.
Okay.
But she's right there on the job. She's seeing, I'm teaching her and, I'm teaching her all that I know. And then all our shortcomings, I'm able to observe them and get them, changed. And then I let her have a voice because a lot of times I make decisions in a vacuum and she gives me pushback and I allow
Mhm.
that.
Okay.
Because, sometimes that it's that struggle, the tug and pull of things that gets the
Mm.
best result.
Yeah.
And women think different than men. I think one way and she thinks another way, and I allow for that, and it's given me great results. I can take off now. I don't need to show up anymore, basically,
Mm.
other than the finance. That's the
Yeah.
part that she doesn't know, managing the finance.
Yeah.
And that's the part I'm trying to simplify so it's easy for people to do.
Now, is that a struggle for you? Because, I'm an entrepreneur and, sometimes you do a lot of stuff yourself
Hmm.
because it has to get done. But sometimes you get so used to doing it yourself, it's hard to even knowing how to even work with people,
That's right.
because sometimes you're concerned about they may not do it right or do this. So you put yourself in a stuck position.
That's right.
Um, so did you go through those?
Yeah, for sure. In fact, I was told that what CEO writes his own checks?
Yeah.
That's what bookkeepers are for.
Yeah.
And I was being told that, everybody that I've consulted with, well, here's what you need to change. You need a bookkeeper who has experience with doing all this to take over. And so I went along with it, reluctantly, but I went along with it.
Okay.
They don't have the same sensitivity that I have. This is my business.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, if I go out of business, they're gonna move on to something else, and they're gonna want
Exactly.
their last check.
Exactly.
Okay, you want that to clear. So I went along with it, and then I was noticing that what makes them so smart at doing this? So they came in and they said they called my suppliers and introduced themselves and said that we want you to wait like 18 days, and we want you guys to wait 2 more weeks, and I'm already paying that basically inside of terms. And then all of a sudden they're being told they're gonna have to wait because they're reorganizing my business.
Yeah.
I thought, is there some magic to being a bookkeeper that you know how to pay bills better than I do? You're not the one making the bill. You have no sensitivity to the bill. And then what happened was when they told them all this time they're gonna have to wait, now they're looking for a check for $25,000. This one wants $15,000. I'm like, but where is this magic money sitting in the bank waiting on these checks that have been 2 more weeks? And so that system collapsed right away. I wrote a
Wow.
bad check to my checking guy for $25,000. And I knew he was gonna be irate because I already was kind of floating a little bit past terms. But when I saw it, I knew it was gonna happen because I'm like, I didn't see where the money was, where we can do that.
Yeah.
So when it happened, because I'm thinking these people know how they do this. So anyway, I called him 7 o'clock in the morning because I'm looking at the bank activity every day, first thing in the morning. And I called him and told him and said, "Hey man, this check's not gonna clear, and don't put it back through. It's not going to clear again.
Mhm.
And so he's screaming at the top of his voice, "You just have me wait 2 weeks, and then the check's no good." So I got involved in, again, when you're building a company, it's the strength of your character
Mm,
can take you a long way.
mm.
My ability to talk could take me a long way. So I started explaining to him what I'm gonna do. If someone wants to know a plan immediately, I said,
Yeah.
I will, let's put that to the side and I'll pay you cash on the barrel when your driver comes. I didn't even know I could do that, but I was
Mm.
like, that was a promise I made him.
Wow.
And that's what we did. Well, that's 10 years ago. So, I got through that
Yeah, yeah.
crisis.
So does he
But
just still use that bookkeeper?
oh
Or
no, no. After that collapse, it was like I'm taking that over again.
yeah,
And I'm never surrendering that again
yeah,
until I have a system that's so easy that my kids can come in or do it from home.
yeah,
They can just use a computer on this date, send this guy this much money, boom, you know.
yeah.
But I have to simplify it because I
Right.
have to do so many, maneuvers all the time. Remember I had a fire that all I had done was made a bunch of bills before the 4 months. And then I had Compton, which was never a good business. It was always a loser. So I had compounding losses.
Mm.
So in a sense, I was in a situation that most people you give up on it because you just can't get out the hole.
Yeah.
But because I had a good frontline business in terms of the reputation of the place and the customers and the potential for growth, I got to figure my way through these growing pains.
Mm,
And so I took that control of that again, and I'll never give it up into a systematic, automatic. And now I'll turn it over and let people do it the way I want it done.
mm.
That's only for this store though. You
Yeah.
don't always have to do it like this. But
But
I told one of the bookkeepers, I have to learn how you make money in business. And to me, the only way you know that is to have control over purchases, the
period.
debts you made, and your expenses and everything. So I need to have a one-to-one relationship with those things. I need to be in the office in the valley doing that. I need to be right there where it's happening.
Period. And it's great that you can you tell these entrepreneurs that are the viewers to inspire them, and you said it out of your own mouth. People say you're too big of a company. You should have a bookkeeper. It's like people have these perceptions
Ooh.
because you're this, you should have this, you should have that, which means spend more money, get more people involved into your business,
Hmm.
which can be, in theory, it sounds
Great.
great, but
Yeah,
practicality from a person who's
right.
really making 250,000 plus a month,
Uh-huh.
a real business, a
Hmm.
real
Hmm.
generational wealth business.
Uh-huh.
Can you tell them the reality of these things
Oh
some
man,
more?
I'll happily tell them the reality. Let me look right in the camera. That's funny. I'll happily tell you everything, every notion you have about business, take it with a grain of salt. You learn business by being in business. You're not successful. I'm not successful yet. People tell me I'm successful. That's what people tell me.
Yeah,
And in some ways, I am successful, but you're always working on success.
yeah,
I said the other day in an interview, I said that all businesses are born in a struggle. The key to it is how to take it from struggle to strength. So you got to wrestle with this thing.
yeah,
This thing ain't gonna lay down, man. It was like I felt like at times I had an 800-pound gorilla over the top of my bed every morning I woke up. And when I woke up, I'd kind of squint, and, you're still there. And yeah, I'm still here. Pick you up, throw you against that wall, slam you to the ground. You begin to kind of speak in parables when you go through these things.
yeah.
You speak in metaphors about what it's like. And so, in terms of these notions that we have about business, throw them all out. When I got in business with the Golden Bird, I actually thought I had done something. I said, "Hey, man, I'm in business. The Golden Bird's a 50-year company. I'm in business with the Golden Bird." I'm automatically a success. That just means I'm a success.
Yeah.
I didn't know that that was when the hard work just really began.
Began.
And it began 1 week after the business became in my name. Just 1 week. I just gotten married. I went on a honeymoon to Acapulco.
Oh
But
wow.
before we left, something was about the numbers were looking kind of tacky. Like, man, this is gonna be due when we get okay, let's just go on the vacation and we'll worry about it when we get back. Man, that was the start of running for my life. And I mean, I was running as hard as I could for my life because there's always something that's trying to take you down.
Yeah.
Sears and Roebuck. Who would have thought in 1930 Sears and Roebuck one day would be no longer? They were Amazon. How could this be?
Yeah.
Because something was chasing them.
Yeah.
It was after them. And if you don't watch your business, you don't manage over your business, if you don't know everything you need to know about your business, you're doomed for failure. Do not allow other people, as the chicken man told me this, a Jewish guy, he said, man, you can't have people running your business. It's like you got to run your own business.
Yeah.
No one else is sensitive to it like you are.
Yeah.
You're the one ultimately going to be responsible for it. So yeah, get rid of all those notions and get down to the real nitty gritty. Business is a nitty gritty thing. You're being chased by something, a force in the universe that wants you to fail. They call it the devil, whatever you want to call it. And that you got to be on top of your business. And that's what I do now. I mean, I'm on top of it. It's like something go wrong, and tomorrow we're on that. Because I learned from the Compton days that when I started the business, I had all a field of weeds. And it's like, you got to knock down all these weeds to make clearance for this thing to work. And every time I knock down 5 weeds, 20 others that show up over here. Well, it took me 42 years now, 43 years to clear that field of weeds. And now every time a weed comes up, a problem comes up, something has to be repaired, something has to be changed, we're on it. The list that went from 50,000 things or 50,000 weeds, I got it narrowed down to 10. There'll always be something.
Always gonna be something.
Every day there's going to be something. But at least it's manageable. And it wasn't manageable for a very long time.
Now, what's some of the major celebrities that are regulars, and some of the ones that shocked you?
Yeah, that's interesting because they don't come in like they used to. A lot of them are very insular.
Yeah.
And now that you can get it through DoorDash and these other
Uber
ways,
Eats, yeah.
who knows how many,
Yeah.
Well, if you want me to drop a name, I
Name
basically
drop for the people.
I got a name drop. First one comes to mind, Kendrick Lamar.
Ooh.
I basically raised that kid on some good old.
Oh yeah, you from Compton.
From Compton, man.
Yeah.
Roddy Rich,
Roddy. Wow.
another one. I see him come in, and Queen Latifah when she's over there, she's come in. Now she's more accessible to the public.
Yeah.
Meaning that she'll take pictures with people. She doesn't let all that stuff make her get insular. So, but one of my neighbors told me he saw Jay-Z in the back alley with a Gulf Wing car eating on a drumstick.
Oh,
So
wow.
I didn't see it myself, but this is what they told me. So now, how many celebrities we have? I was actually in a Jay-Z video. My family was in a Jay-Z video.
Wow. Which one?
It was Black Man. It was, you look it up on our website. It was about Black entrepreneurs, and Tyler, the creator, was in that video. I was in the video with my family.
What, you guys are all in black suits? Where everybody was in black
No,
suits?
they were going from one entrepreneur to the next, and then Honey's Kettle came up in the video.
Wow.
And then they widened out the shot to show my whole family that was involved. I don't know how much Jay-Z was tied in. It was him and Pharrell did this particular video. And so we got some real names. We're feeding some people that are really counting for stuff that they're doing.